And we're live!
Hey, everybody!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and people of all spectrums, why is that not muted on my side? That sucks. That's embarrassing. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Fire Force podcast episodes 5 and 6 we're covering today. Who are we?
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Ian.
I'm Bo.
I guess I'll go after. I'm the other guy.
And we don't know who the other guy is. I've seemingly forgotten about him.
You know, we've been doing this podcast for like 3 years now, following various different anime. 3 years in, we still can't get introductions right.
No, and I like it that way.
we were Ian and I were just talking about this, and I was like, he seems to prefer it that way. He doesn't necessarily do it. It's just a quirk, you know. We're just a bunch of lovable muffs.
It is just
it's not the podcast if you don't fuck up the intro.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We mess up the intro so we can be on point for everything else.
Yeah, except that never happens either.
No, no, it doesn't. It's more like a prayer.
So, yeah, this, anyways, welcome, guys. We're talking about Fire Force episodes 5 and 6. If you like them animus,
so,
you're in the right place.
Real fast, I'd like to point out, yes, we are aware that the description says, thanks for helping us reach 24K. Thanks for helping us reach 25K.
Yeah,
right?
Holy shit. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to that because that's fucking amazing.
You guys are nuts. I've no idea how does
where are y'all coming from?
Like, are you guys calling your friends? And like, hey, subscribe to this? Like, what's happening?
Well,
we can't actually be getting popular. That's not possible. We're a bunch of scrubs.
Let me, just to address the chat. Yes, this does have spoilers, hence why it says episodes 5 and 6.
Wow, Brian.
So, Alt-Tab backspace, I would Alt-Tab for your window open with this, and Control-N a new window with Crunchyroll, and go watch
or Funimation. Some people like dubs.
Oh, yeah. For those of you who can't stand it in Japanese with subtitles, Funimation.
I have a hard time paying attention on a first watch through, honestly, in Japanese, because I like to be able to understand what's being said, to be completely honest.
And trying to read and also watch is sometimes I have to like go back sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Although I will admit, like, for me as somebody who's trying to learn a little bit of Japanese, it's kind of nice to go in and watch in Japanese and like read the translation and hear something different and be like, oh, I see how they changed that around, or be like, oh, that's a bad translation. I don't like that. You know. But yes, we do read comments. Thank you. But yeah, so we're talking about Fire Force episodes 5 and 6. And yeah, this is should we guys want to just get into it?
Yeah, I think I've got the wheel for this one, and then you've got episode 6.
You got the wheel for I mean, I hope you have the wheel for episode 5 because I didn't take notes on it.
I most certainly do. So without further ado, let's look for a moment into the memories of our young priestess as she purifies herself in front of a fountain while throwing water on herself.
As you do.
As you do.
As apparently you do, yeah.
So she's reminiscing
about
her
look,
childhood.
I don't know how this religion works, man.
Yeah, we have no idea. No,
that's my wife.
Oh, your other wife.
Other wife, yes.
So, without further ado,
there's a lot of characters in the show.
Iris is reminiscing to her childhood, which we'll actually get to later on, and her time with, if you'll keenly recognize, a recognizable younger Princess Hibana.
Boss lady.
Yeah, boss
Basically.
lady. Miss I like gravel and stepping on it.
Yeah. Really, she's into
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just realizing that I never watched episode 5.
Wow.
Ooh.
Because it wasn't being covered last week, and I was elsewhere.
Ooh.
Here's the thing you could
I'm just gonna wing it.
Open it, and
You're just
watch it
gonna
as
wait.
we're talking about it.
You might want to do that. But she's also reminiscing about the fire and reaching out to fire. She's done a couple of times now during the series. Like, she keeps seeing like these fire flowers and like, ooh,
Mhm.
pretty, and trying to touch them, and then she'll snap back to reality.
Yeah, she's had this. They've been teasing this a lot, and spoilers, it comes to a head next episode. But in this episode, we don't know what it's about still.
Yeah, we think it's like, ooh, it's traumatic and kind of creepy, with her
See,
memories.
my thought going through this episode was like, this has to have something to do with the fire at, her
At the nunnery.
Monastery, nunnery, whatever it's called. Yeah,
Nunnery. That's a real thing, right? A
That's
nunnery.
the thing.
Yeah,
She's a nun.
nunnery.
She lives in a nunnery. That's how
If
that
you
works.
make it sound like they're made on an assembly line.
It's the
No,
best
no, no,
because-
no. It's look. It's nunnery. It means wait, where? I just had this. What the fuck, Wikipedia? A building or group of buildings in which nuns live as a religious community.
There
A
you
convent.
go. A nunnery.
Yeah.
A convent.
convent.
Oh, so
there
it
you
is
go.
where nuns are made on an assembly line.
I mean,
Basically.
maybe not on assembly lines, but the analogy is good enough.
Orphans go in and nuns come out. That's how
and
this
you know-
one works, it seems.
After a brief, strained conversation with Shinra, we move on from this, and we go to Obi, who's quote-unquote training on the roof.
I love Obi's training regime. It just gets more and more ridiculous each time we see him. Like the next time he's gonna be just like bench pressing cars or something. We don't...
Welcome to the Incredibles, Obi.
Yes.
But even the people around him are like, yeah, this is no longer physical training. This is something adjacent.
A little ridiculous.
And it's Hinawa and Obi, Iris,
Hinawa's
Maki,
not Ida, right?
Yes, the not Ida character
Yes.
because this is not that other show. And
Yeah.
only that reason.
Yeah. So apart from Hinawa, who's just, being a shining, glasses guy, we have Maki, Iris, Arthur, and Shinra. Or we would have if Arthur weren't trying to kill some wildlife in the background.
There were griffins attacking his castle, Ian. Come on.
Yeah, but it's like, it's another stunning example of how much this guy needs help.
He's a bit of a dullard. I'm not gonna lie.
A
He's got
bit?
kind of rocks for
Look-
brains.
Look, we
Um,
can talk about how much of a dullard he is in the next episode because he does
No.
some pretty stupid shit.
No, we'll get to that in this episode actually.
yeah.
But yeah, Hinawa starts monologuing, and Arthur starts thinking about killing birds who are just in
Yeah.
the
And then-
background.
And then Hinawa just straight up shoots Shinra.
Like, what
Yup.
the heck,
Pulls
dude?
out a gun, and he's
With
like,
the real
"Wait,
gun.
Don't point guns at me as a joke." And he's like, "Do I look like I joke?" And just shoots him.
In the leg.
Did I fucking stutter?
Like, dude, what the heck, dude? What the hell? What the hell, dude? You just shot your
And-
comrade in the leg, and it wasn't even the guy who was screwing around.
And the best part of that is Iris then goes, "Latham."
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Like,
It's
well,
like-
that was the end of that show. Main character dead. Okay, moving on.
Yep.
Mhm.
Main character bleeds out.
I think
Um,
I think it's really interesting though, because like he's also a second generation
Fire soldier.
pyrokinetic. That's
Fire
Pyrokinetic, yes.
soldier.
yeah. He's a second generation pyrokinetic, and so he shot Shinra with a real gun, but he was able to control the explosion of the gunpowder, so it was like it basically had the same force as like a BB gun.
Yeah,
Like
he can control gunpowder. That's his magic power. He's the gunpowder
Yep.
guy.
For his
Which-
surprise attack, he wields a gun.
It's like, you wouldn't shoot your own teammates, would you? I just did.
It's just it does make me wonder if he can weaken the power of a gunshot. Maybe he can also strengthen it. Is that a thing he can do?
Oh, I'm sure he can. I just don't think he's had the need to, because all he's had to do is beat the crap out of idiots, not
Yeah,
actual infernals.
I'm not gonna lie, when we get to that scene, and you know what scene I'm talking about, he's like a little bit OP, just
a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little.
We'll get there, because there's not a lot to get through, because the first half is exposition, the second part is, you know, what's been built up with that exposition. So we come to
And
we
then there's the part where Arthur hallucinates a dragon. Let's
Yeah.
not forget the awesome dragon artwork that I had to mention because it's me.
yeah, of course. But that's soon interrupted by Obi saying, "Look, the fifth is super sus, and you know, the captain Hibana has only become a captain because she's been conducting illegal experiments and selling the data to get the money."
Well, naturally,
Well, yeah, naturally, of course,
as
she has,
one does.
as one does, and she has no other reputation publicly other than that, really. Um, but we move on to Iris looking at a picture of Hibana and the rest of the nunnery pre-fire, and you're like, I'm gonna go see her. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I thought that was actually a pretty good. It was a good scene where she's like, you know, we get to see the strength of her character, just, you know, deciding, you know, I could wait for the rest of my team, but I'm gonna go confront her right now. This is it's maybe not the smartest thing to do, but she does it with conviction.
Strength of character, check.
Yep.
Lack of common sense, also check.
Also, maybe check. Is there? I think there's a scene in between. Yeah, there's a scene in between there that we should probably talk about, involving our crazy science lady. Torturing
yeah.
an infernal.
Oh
Yeah.
You know, that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, that's a thing.
They never really explained what exactly she was doing.
Yeah, it was just like
she was just like poking it with sticks.
Yeah, it's like
see if it breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, see if it breaks. Like, you didn't tell us what the things you're using are. You're just stomping on him as if he's going to enjoy it and poking at him until his chest breaks open.
And laughing maniacally while doing so. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, that could have used a lot more context. Moving on.
They just wanted to establish that she's a bit off her rocker. That's all. That's all that scene was trying to get at.
Yep. I mean, yeah. No, she's she a bit crazy. So
and by a bit, you know, I mean like not only is she off the rocker, she's lit the rocker on fire at this point and thrown it out the window.
Yep. So are we at the part where Iris goes to see Boss Lady?
We are, and funnily enough, she's just let right in. Like, no huss, no fuss. It's like, oh yeah, we'll totally bring you to see our captain. And bring you into this intricately created room filled with a bunch of trophies that's perfectly created for a battle scene in the next episode.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, like, her room is decorated with, like, hang on.
What? What?
Forrest had to step
Forrest
away.
Just yeets away.
Yeah, he's left us. He's left us for a better place. He's gone on to the farm where all the other little forests go at the end of their time.
Okay, so can we talk about how the 8th just fucking like there's a perfectly good door and they choose to use the wall?
I mean, yeah, dude, you've got to make an entrance saying like, look, we are going to come in here and we are going to break everything until you give us what we want, starting with your wall. And it's not like you can file a report because you're super sus.
Now, my favorite thing about this, right, is like, Captain Obi is like, okay, guys, like we need to attack the 5th because, like, you know, they've taken Iris, right? And so he's like, all right, here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna go gear up, and then he just fucks off, and everybody else does the rest of the work.
Well, we'll get to it. Funnily enough, how that goes. But Forrest, you were talking about the room, and we've just entertained ourselves for like the past 30 seconds. Why don't you continue?
Oh, yes. Apologies. Trouble with their AC units. Yeah, the room has like flowers on the walls, like pictures of different flowers and things, and then a bunch of creepy statues that I don't know why they're there. Or what
I don't know
about,
what those statues mean. Like, I don't know what they represent.
It's just a lot of people like stabbing other people, and
I feel
the
like
headless guy, and I don't know what's going on.
I feel like there's some like very like real imagery there. This just like going over my head, kind of like the dudes with the balloons in like one of the previous episodes, like that we kept cutting back to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's weird, and we don't necessarily know entirely what's going on. We just know that this room is creepy, and that this lady has, shall we say, a unique sense of taste. Which leads me to my next question, Bo. How's the redecorating going? Because I'm sure that with your waifus, there's been some redecorating going on, and I'm sure it's probably not to your taste in decor.
I'd like to remind you that I didn't see this episode, so I'm just trying to picture, with the context that I have of the most recent episode, I'm trying to picture what's going on, and it's going about as well as you think.
Yeah, it's that same room. It's just, you know. Yeah. It's that same room with the creepy statues and the flowers on the walls. And a nice palace.
Now, I think they lay some groundwork in this episode though, because like I don't remember what the exact conversation was, but Boss Lady essentially like burns off Iris's nun clothes because like she views like the whole religion as like an affront.
Yeah, she says, don't come in here wearing that habit, you know.
Yeah.
Don't preach to me about your false god that, you know, doesn't exist. It's just I think she refers to the nuns as window dressing for the Fire Force or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think she does, yeah.
Like
now,
like it's a facade.
to be fair, if like a Jehovah's Witness came knocking on my door in the middle of the night, like, and then we're like, hey, you know, do you know about our Lord and Savior? Like, I might be kind of pissed too. But like, she took it a little far.
But this is like if you were a former Jehovah's Witness and some Jehovah's Witnesses came to your door, right? Because she was part of the same nunnery that Iris was.
Yep.
Right? She had a very different reaction to what happened there than Iris did, clearly. But
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Like she believes it's these like she's seen through the sham that is this religion, and she's disgusted to see that Iris hasn't caught on yet, which is why she burns the habit into obviously a scantily clad outfit, because she doesn't want to burn off the entire outfit, because that would just, you know, be absolutely egregious.
That would be a too high level of fan service.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like from like Boss Lady's character that I have seen thus far, like if she burned off all of Iris's clothes, I would have been like, yeah, that would seem in character for her. But I appreciate that they didn't. Like,
yeah.
I appreciate it too. It's like you couldn't have done anything else, but it's anime. Okay, I've had my moment of my moment of irritation. I can move on. We're actually gonna move on now to the fights that ensue.
Can we talk about not Ida's guns?
We will get there. Hold yourself. The aide engages in a rescue operation, starting off with this is air traffic control. This is Shinra touching down.
Yeah, he just flies everywhere.
I don't understand why he even touched down. Like, why are you stopping? You can fly. Just keep flying, dude.
Well, he didn't know where to go, right? It's a huge... Did you see the size of this facility?
Yeah, it's
like,
a huge
the
complex.
Aid works out of this tiny little converted church thing. They've got a giant castle, massive, like, cooling spires. They have warehouses upon warehouses. They have a giant manor.
Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff, and that speaks to the amount of money that Hibana is bringing in on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great and all, but it's like, well, what were you going to do, Shinra, face against all of the fifth company and somehow beat the information out of them? I guess that's a yes.
I mean, sure, why not?
For the rest of the squad, at least, as Arthur cuts a hole in the wall and the matchbox comes through.
Cuts a hole in the wall. The shape of, he couldn't just like cut a bigger hole. That he cuts it the exact shape of the matchbox.
Well, obviously he wasn't on the top of his game, and we'll get to why. And like, I think it's Maki who's like making a fuss about just outright assaulting the 5th company's complex, and he now was like, like they could file any reports.
Well, I actually liked that little moment from Maki's character because like Ida is like, he's in there with his guns and he's like, let's fuck some people up. And then like and Maki's like, I kind of don't want to do that. Like, I wanted to fight Infernals. I don't want to fight people. That's why I left the military.
Yeah, we get
I don't know that remind me if I've just forgotten, but I believe that's new information that Maki is ex-military.
No, it's not new information.
It's not?
It's not new information. It came up in episode 2.
Did it? Okay.
That she was a soldier. We did not know why she was an
ex-soldier. But when she becomes all of a sudden like the totally kick butt anime girl character, then they're like, oh yeah, she's ex-military. That's why. You know, and then she kicks everybody's butt. But but it was maybe a little forced, I think, to have like in the middle of this fight scene have a little bit of character exposition. But it was kind of nice to see. Oh, so her story is she wants to not fight. She wants to save people and not fight people because she did that already and wasn't really happy with it. And then Hinawa, like totally not Ida character, his backstory, he was like, oh, I just wanna talk some reason into these people with my guns.
Yeah. And then
he's not in it to fight Infernals. He's in it to fight people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot them until they understand.
With non-lethal bullets.
Which he's just sniping people.
Here's the thing. Now we know why he carries like 2 submachine guns and just starts laying into them. It's because he can direct them personally. It's like, where's this thing called bullet spread? And
we'll get to that in a moment. First of all, he just lays out like an entire company of people with his guns.
Yep.
All non-lethal. There's even this moment where like this dude is like, he's like trying to get up and he just fucking like shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's
just
like
on top of him
like fucking, it was like damn near like execution style. Like,
yeah, that's.
But non-lethal, totally non-lethal, man.
Yeah.
He just knocked him out with his bullets from his guns.
I mean, all he has now is a concussion. It's fine.
Yeah,
like
it's fine.
But then he and Maki end up fighting this dude who has explosive bubble gum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought they were setting. I mean, it was lame, but it was like you were setting him up to be like a character they would fight, and just lays him out. Like, you are nothing to me.
So,
this is
can we talk about how gunpowder works for a second? Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Feel free.
So, like, he fires the bullets into the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And then using the gunpowder, redirects them. Look, I'm not like a gun expert or anything, but I know that when you fire the gun initially, you leave like the part of the bullet with all of the gunpowder behind.
Yeah, that's called a shell casing.
Like
I mean, I think there's some. Yeah, so he does it twice. He redirects the bullets twice. He fires them into the air, then using the residual gunpowder on the bullets, I guess, redirects them into the warehouse where they hit the floor, making a spark, which allows him to redirect them a second time to ricochet around the room and take this guy out.
The second time, I believe more than the first. I'll be honest. Because the ricochet effect is creating a spark every time, and that I can understand.
I'm just having flashbacks to that Angelina Jolie movie Wanted, where it's like this he like uses a sniper and he shoots it from like miles away and like curves it around like the curvature of the earth and then kills this guy through this tiny little slit, and then he just looks at the camera and goes, "What the fuck have you done with your life today?"
Is this that movie with they're curving bullets around.
Yes,
I think I vaguely
yes.
remember that, and that did remind me a lot of this. I never saw the movie, but I just remember the trailer from it. And I was like, yeah, pretty
That
much
is
that.
absolutely the whole movie is just them shooting bullets and curving them for no goddamn reason.
So, Bo, the Ricochet scene in the intro is actually the Ricochet scene that we've seen here, in part.
Cool. I've basically seen half the episode though.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. Now,
No, this was hands down the single greatest part of the episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from including the part that's about to happen right now, which is the dumb part of the episode, the dumbest part of the
Well,
episode.
the dumb part. No, we're still on the. Are we still on the gun scene? Because then like, the weird Charlie's Angels characters show up.
Oh yeah!
The
And they're
Fifth
called
Angels
like
3.
the Fifth Angels 3.
Except
But
there's more than
far
3.
more than 3 of them.
It's like,
Yeah.
you just come in like companies of 3? Is that your thing? And it's like, and they all have different, like, they say Fifth Angels Free, and then they all say like 3 different taglines. It's like, what is
Right,
going on?
they can never. They're as bad with their intro as we are.
Well, yeah, except that there are more of them than there are of us, and so they have no
That's true.
excuse.
No, I know it's kind of skipping ahead again, but like the Fifth Angels 3 show up at the beginning of the next episode as well. And one of the things that I really appreciate is how much they fuck up their intro. Like 'cause the second time around in the next episode, they all say the same thing, but they're all out of sync. Like,
Oh, no.
Different times.
That's committing to a bit. That is committing.
Yep. See, they got all the lines right this time, but they got the timing wrong. So maybe the third time we hear them, it'll.
No, they're never gonna get it. It's like they're gonna find more ways to screw it up, just like we will with the intro.
Indeed.
But nothing can screw up harder than Arthur, because Arthur is following Shinra's like black marks that he's making on the ground as he's using his feet to
The devil's
fly.
footprints.
The devil's footprints. The devil's footprints. I must follow the devil's footprints. I can slay him one day. Nope. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to save the princess.
And
He
somebody
turns
else is
around.
following the devil's footprints.
Yeah, the token mad scientist guy who we've just met.
Who has a cone for a head, and I'm still really not sure why.
I don't know why either. It just seems like he needs something to shine with his hands when he wasn't shining his shoes.
Yup.
Oh my god. Yeah, and he has the infernal guy that they were torturing earlier, who's now apparently on drugs too. So
Yup.
that's a thing.
He's on drugs.
Don't
They've
do drugs,
rebuilt his
kids.
chest somehow.
Yeah,
Yup.
that and his arm is now a flame cannon. Because of
As
course
you
it
do.
is.
Yep.
It's also a gun. Ruby crossover
It's also-
confirmed.
It's also it's an arm and it's also a gun.
Yep. And so Arthur has a pretty difficult time with this guy. And this oh my god. Arthur's so stupid.
Yes, he is.
So
They're talking about food. They're like, "Oh, am I gonna be seasoned in teriyaki sauce or something?" Like, I did not know what was going on. Why are they talking about teriyaki? I don't know.
like so Arthur keeps like having a hard time with this enemy, and he's just like, man, like I'm really off my game today. I wonder what's wrong. And they're just like continuing to mock him, like, we're just so much better than you, and you're just finding excuses, like, you were never a match for us. And Arthur's like, nah, I'm pretty sure that's not it. And
Something
and then
else.
like
It's gotta be.
and then finally at the very end of the fight, he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm holding my sword in my left hand, but I'm right-handed. Silly me. And then just cuts the dude down.
Yeah,
It just one shots him.
Oh,
my God.
God, like, Arthur, you need help. What are you
like,
doing
my
here?
dude, how did you
Why
forget you were right-handed?
And why is he that bad with his? I don't
Like-
understand.
Is
Is
it-
it like writing his name? Like he can't.
Is it bad that I kind of really want Weiss to pull something like that, but like intentionally, where she's just like, I don't understand why I'm not fighting so good, and then it's just like, oh wait, I'm left-handed, and then just like cuts the person down.
I mean,
Oh, wait,
for
I
Weiss
figured
it'd
it
be
out.
pretty cute and kind of awesome because she'd be totally toying with him with, I assume it's a he, but anything that would happen
Oh,
to cross her path
oh
during
yeah,
that
it
time.
would absolutely be like intentional. I want her to like actually, because like maybe she's fighting someone and they're like really underestimating her, and so she's just like, I'm gonna play into it and then kick their ass.
Right.
Also,
They're like,
I
I'm
watched
like the
that for, like,
best swords person
and it was-
ever.
Except that I am 100% convinced Arthur was not toying with them.
Yeah,
He
Arthur is
genuinely
just dumb.
forgot he was
He's
right-handed.
just an idiot.
He's like, they're really emphasizing that Arthur is dumb, and it's hilarious how dumb he is, but I'm also just banging my head into the ground every time it happens. Like, you're trying to treat birds like griffins, and you're forgetting that you're right-handed. Like, are you freaking schizophrenic or something?
Right.
He's just a D&D player that got way too caught up in the role, and now and
No.
also didn't have a lot of brain cells to start with. I don't know what's it. I don't know
No,
why
no,
it's
no.
so
He's a D&D player that's been hopping between a bunch of different campaigns with a bunch of different characters. And he's like, wait, the character I'm playing right now, are they right-handed? Are they left-handed? I can't remember.
Am I a druid? Am I a ranger?
Yeah, well, no, because like maybe he is like really smart, but his character in his D&D campaign always has really low intelligence, so he just role plays being really dumb all the time.
And now it sticks.
Or he's just actually dumb.
I would love to see a spark of intelligence behind those eyes. But there's just enough to keep him moving and use his sword. Meanwhile, the actual protagonist, who actually has a head on his shoulders, arbitrarily arrives at a building that he just knows is the one where Iris is in. It's like, I found you. End
I mean,
credits.
to be fair, that building looks like a palace.
It does.
It looks like if you have a character whose literal name is Princess, it's kind of the place where you'd expect to find it.
I mean, kind of. It's just a... just...
It's like, how did you know that we were here? Well, the big sign that says "We're here" pointing at the building didn't really
Kind of a
leave
giveaway.
a whole lot to be imagined.
Yeah.
Villain residence here. Please wipe your feet. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like Doofenshmirtz Industries.
MacGuffin that will totally defeat me is in the box.
So he arrives, the episode ends, and that's where episode 6 picks up.
And now I've actually
really right after
seen the episode.
Yep. And so first of all, I gotta say, like, they just like fucking broke into their place, right? Like wrecked their wall, wrecked their men, right? And Shinra, the polite guy that he is, still opens up the door and goes, "Ozamashimasu! Pardon the intrusion." Like,
I mean, you gotta be polite when you're breaking into people's houses and kicking all their goons' butts, you know?
He's really sticking to it, man.
So he enters the palace. That's when he fights the other group of the Fifth Angels 3.
Which doesn't go so well for them.
No. Well,
but like Brian was saying, is like when they introduce themselves, it's like if 3 of us in this call were to try to say Fifth Angels 3 all at the same time, that's what it would sound like because of the lag.
Except they didn't have the excuse of doing this over Discord.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what makes it so funny.
Like, they're just like, I love the fact that like first of all, there in the last episode there was Bubblegum Guy, right? Who like was actually for a moment like a legitimate threat. Like,
and then
but yet he's a dude, and as we know, Princess Boss Lady always walks over like all the men, and she seems to have more respect for the women, like, because like the Fifth Angels 3 are always like hanging around her, but that dude was so much more capable than these 3 idiots.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
No one ever said that she had a good judge of character.
Just a unique one.
Apparently not.
Just a shitty one.
So, Yeah. Now, I want to just take a quick moment away from this episode to talk about something in the opening, because I have a theory.
Oh.
We were debating last episode about whether or not Catgirl was going to become a legitimate character.
Mhm.
I am
Yes.
now absolutely convinced that she is, because
Really?
yes. So Catgirl is a member of one of the other fire department or fire force
She's from the
units,
first
right?
company.
Yeah.
From the first company. She is in the open. She's actively fighting with, and even in the final lineup for the 8th.
Yes, she is.
I think she's gonna switch companies.
Well,
Probably.
that's pretty obvious. That's what's going to happen, or that she's going to be on loan from the first for a certain period of time. But we don't know who they're going after. Well, we do know who they're going after next, and that will
We do.
probably cause the roster change that will include adding our last and final member.
Yeah. So I think she's gonna be. I think she's gonna be important.
I think she's going to join the team. I don't know if that means they're going to actually write a character for her at some point. I hope that's what that means. But we'll have to see.
Well, we shall see. I mean, look, thus far I feel like they've been doing some really good work, particularly with Iris and characterizing her. So
this is true.
I have
Can I say that Iris's voice actress in English is the lovely Alexis Tipton, and she's so good. Like, I love her voice for the English dub. She's so cute.
She is also
I've
very
read the
cute.
pleasure.
Iris's best girl.
So anyways, there was this one shot, going back to the episode, there was this one shot where it looked like Boss Lady can form fire eyes. Did you see that?
Eyes?
Well,
No,
Like her eyes?
there was like this little shot where like this fire turned into like the shape, like the flower shape of her eyes.
Oh.
And then she
right.
was like, yes, like your friends are coming for you. And I was like, wait, is she
Wait.
spying on people with fire?
Is
But
that...
I don't know, maybe I read that wrong.
I
but
don't think that's what was happening.
I think that was just a hint that her fire, like there was just
mhm.
that was her fire, not necessarily that she was scrying through the thing she made.
That'd be
that would
pretty
be cool.
cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, but in any case, like, I mean, this episode was very, very heavily like a Iris backstory episode.
mm-hmm.
Well,
and you know, this Fifth Company captain backstory, right?
Yep.
It opens with, like, after the intro, opens with her doing the evil villain monologue of "Here's why I do bad things,"
which I gotta say I didn't buy until the end of the episode. Like I was like, as she was explaining it, like I was just like, that I don't buy your motivation right now.
Yeah.
But like once it was like fully explained, I was like, okay, I can kind of see it. Obviously, I mean, yeah, obviously Iris and Boss Lady grew up in the same nunnery.
Yes, they did.
And what's her name? Princess
Hibana.
Hibana Hinamizawa? No, okay. Yeah, so Princess Hibana asks when everyone in the nunnery burned. And I think one of the things she claims is that she survived because her third generation powers manifested. And
yeah.
Yeah, so like she's kind of like laying the groundwork for some of her character motivation, which is explained later. But like the way she talked about this, and like she was like, yeah, like I had these powers and I survived, but nobody else did. And somehow this experience has made her think that she is like above other people.
she's a
they're
god,
gravel.
basically.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I mean that's effectively like her motivation here seems to be because she's telling Iris, you believe in this false god that promises happiness, but we don't live in a world where there are gods or heroes. We live in a world of devils.
Yeah.
Right. So I chose to become a devil, and if that's what I am, then I'll live the part. I'll do devilish things, and her motivation is only to like be more powerful and step on more people, I guess. And
Yeah. Well,
That-
no. What
it's
she
a pretty
she says.
villainous motivation.
Well, what she says is, standing above others is what mankind's happiness is.
Right.
Which, like, which is very, very confusing to me when she said that because, and like she kept talking about like her own personal view about like the fire in the nunnery and how it was like she seemed to like view herself as above others because she survived and nobody else did, but then she's talking about like how standing above others, that's mankind's ultimate goal, and I and like or specifically mankind's happiness, and it's like, wait, like are you saying that this is your happiness or this is like what your personal happiness is or mankind's happiness? Are you saying that they're aligned? Like it was very
Well,
confusing to me.
I think what she's saying is that it's the nature of humankind, right? She's putting herself very much in an eat or be eaten, or she says burn or be burned, but
Right.
The analogy
the typical phrase
stands.
is eat or be eaten, right?
Right.
Kind of world, and because she has these fire powers, she's one of the stronger people out there. She's one of the people that does the eating, not the getting eaten, and so the powerful will rise to the top, kind of thing. And she sees herself as being the most powerful that she's come across, right? Probably, and at least in her general vicinity. So she steps on everybody else to get in her way.
God, I wish that was me.
You wish you could shoot fire from your hands?
So, but yeah, Iris is like, well, that can't be called happiness, and freaking Princess Hibana is like, you shut your whore mouth, woman, and shoots some fire at her, and then Shinra arrives to help.
Well, specifically, she says, just stop. Where is it? Spouting platitude, waiting to be burned up. Right. So she's basically in her worldview, right? She's one of the people who burn things, and she's putting Iris in the category of people who are just gonna get burned. Right. Yep. You're only offering up these platitudes. All you're doing is you're waiting for somebody like me to walk all over you, basically.
Yep. And so yeah, Shinra arrives to help, and then he's like, I'm gonna save you because I'm a hero. And then she's like, no, you're not, and then paralyzes him.
All right, Bo, didn't you just say you wanted to step on people, or did I get that wrong?
No, Forrest said, oh yeah, and she steps on people, and I was saying, God, I wish that was me, as in I wish I was the people being stepped on.
Oh, okay.
I am not a stepper, I am a step.
Oh, well, let me fix that for you.
You're not a stepper, you're a step-E.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a step-E.
Uh-huh.
Brian should be what's cat girl to be relevant.
You know what? Yeah, you're right.
Oh my god. So but yeah, so she uses her power on him. It paralyzes him, and she calls it heat syncope, or however the fuck you say it. How did they pronounce it in the English dub?
It was like, I want to say it was heat syncope.
Syncope?
Which is what she said, I think.
Something like that.
Essentially, she is controlling the heat of his body as a way of limiting oxygen to his brain. So is she like giving him heat stroke?
So syncope or syncope, not sure how it's pronounced, according to the internet, is a temporary loss of consciousness usually related to insufficient blood flow to the brain, otherwise called fainting or passing out.
Yeah, she says it's called heat syncope. That's what she said.
So she's making you pass out from basically heat stroke. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but after hearing how it works, Shinra manages to stand, claiming that what she's doing is all in his head. I don't know that that's how that works.
I mean, it is
As
all in his head, but that doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
As someone who has had heat stroke, it is definitely not in your head. But it is. Because the stroke is in your head.
But it's not. It's not a figment
It's not in
of
your
your
head in that
imagination.
sense.
Like, he's like, I'll just overcome with willpower. And I'm like, oh, Shinra, you might want to sit the fuck down, my dude. Like,
It's okay. She does that later.
yeah.
Like, is it all in your head now? As she makes him faint again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then so then Princess
Hibana.
Flower Lady.
Oh my god, dude. Write it down or something.
Hina Mizawa, okay? I've been
It-
watching way too much Higurashi. So like they decide to do this like fire move that has flowers, and that which is of course like the motif that we've continued to see with Iris.
Right. So now we know who's been making the fire flowers. She's been making.
Right. And then because Shinra's managed to stand, right? Like they're at this standoff, and Shinra calls himself the single greatest thing I've ever heard anyone call themselves ever. He calls himself deluded lady wake up call man.
Yeah.
His one-liners. I don't know.
So good. Is that what he called himself in the English dub, Bo?
I'm going back and double checking real fast.
I love it. Also, quick question: why do all bad ladies in anime use fans to fight?
Because tropes.
It's not okay. It's not all bad. I'm trying to think. God, what's her name? Suki from Avatar uses fans, right?
Right.
She's not a bad guy.
That's true, but
So
like
it's not exclusive to villains.
maybe I'm just like too accustomed to Glass and Shield Hero now.
So he calls her "smack that princess to her senses, man."
Just make it stop.
I like that they didn't use the same thing in the English dub, and they just went even harder.
They went more English, yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So
That sounds like an STD. Person with that sense
still
of
not as
ability
good
is
as
called
his-
Clemantis.
Yep. Well, they're
um
all flowers. I believe all of their names are flowers.
Yeah, well, like all of her attacks that she uses are like flower based. Like she makes a giant cherry blossom tree, a sakura tree at some point. But what's interesting is later in the episode we find out that it's not specifically flowers she's referencing, because all of the nuns had flower names. So her attacks are actually invoking her former nun sisters who died in the fire.
Right.
Which I think isn't like that takes away a little bit from her, like her, because she's at this point she's this crazy maniacal villainous character, but then like when you realize that, when like the moment you realize that she's using attacks based on the names of her fellow deceased sisters, that it's a humanizing moment for her, I think.
Yeah.
I gotta ask real fast, Ian, how did you manage to spell relevant right for Forrest but not Brian?
What?
I intentionally misspelled it. I intentionally misspelled something wrong for both.
Oh my god.
Like, because if you look at Brian, he's got something wrong, and so does Forrest.
To be fair, I don't really. It's not that I don't want Catgirl to be relevant. I just doubt that she will be.
Call it
So
my bad.
I do like the fact that Boss Lady fights with a fan though. you can't tell me that Cinder wouldn't make a better villain if she fought with fans.
Wow. Okay.
Fire fan.
So I guess you could say you're a real fan of the idea.
Oh,
You get out.
Where's
No.
Cole?
For the chat, I want to let everyone know that Bo did in fact get out.
Oh my god.
It causes me physical pain too, just so you know.
It should.
But in any case, so Shinra's like, nah, bitch, you mistaken. Like, you're all wrong. And that pisses her off. And so she uses her power again. And of course, it works. But she keeps insulting Shinra's drive to be a hero. She's like, she's like, there's no such thing as heroes in this world. Like, they don't exist. And then she's like, I'm gonna show you real power. And then she creates a fire tree.
Which
She
is
creates a
pretty awesome.
goddamn fire tree.
As one does.
Yep. And then
This
that's
is
where
my
all the
finishing
imagery
move.
is. Yeah. That's where
I've
all
got
the
the
imagery
smash
is.
ball.
Statues
Here
are.
comes my final smash.
Giant flaming tree attack, I guess.
Yeah. And then while she's fighting Shinra, she has this thing where, she talks a little bit more about her views that, that she finds salvation, like, because Iris is basically like, where do you, like, because Boss Lady's like, there is no God, you're all dumb, like, and Iris is like, well, of course there is, like, you can find salvation even in life. And she's like, I find salvation in exploiting others for personal gain.
Yeah, for monetary gain, basically.
Yeah,
like really fast. Sorry, back on the topic of fans. So in Japanese culture, the use of fans is considered a symbol of high social status.
Among other things, yes.
And it's also supposed to be one of the more common like beliefs is that the fan represents like the life that you're going through, where it starts out branching out from the singular piece of wood, and each different piece of the fan represents like a different chapter of your life, kind of.
Oh, interesting.
Just thought that was interesting.
Well, I think it definitely ties in with that. I mean, she lives in a palace, right? It definitely ties in with her.
I mean, her first name is Princess.
Her first name is Princess. Yeah.
But yeah, so she views everyone as gravel, but apparently not Iris. So she thinks that Iris is worthy as well because Iris was also spared from the flames along with her.
Dang, people. The chat right now is going live with cat puns. I can't deal with this.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
I'm really feline these puns right now.
Oh no.
God,
I can't believe it.
Oh my god. So, and then we get some flashback stuff. We get some like really serious backstory. So apparently, Princess never took things as seriously as the other nuns. But then they all burned, and only her and Iris were left. And so to her, she was like, I never believed as hard as the other nuns, and they all burned, and I didn't. Like, if that to me is proof that there is no God.
Right.
And for those devout believers, they were the ones that burned, so this must be the work of the devil. And for me having my firepower abilities, I must be the spawn of the devil. So why not play the part? Was essentially her thinking.
Yeah, which Shinra tries briefly to sort of subvert, because he's like, oh, I see that, you're someone who was hurt by fire as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got a tragic backstory too, and I didn't decide to start murdering people for money and fame, and
Yeah.
But he doesn't really get a chance to. I don't think he really gets a chance to, you know, elaborate on that before he's attacked by sakura blossoms.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I love it too because he's basically just like, bitch, do you think you're the only one with a tragic anime backstory? Like,
I'll raise you
do with the program. Like,
He's like, I'm a main character. What do you think I've been through?
But yeah, so Shinra manages to stand in like a flurry of her attacks, and then he manages to get one good hit in where he just freaking like decks her.
He clocks her.
Yeah. I love it too. Like, she just stood there and took it. Like,
yeah,
Like-
pretty much.
Like,
She was like in disbelief that he could even like he's attacking me. How?
And so then we get a whole flashback sequence back to Iris and the princess's life as nuns.
You know, I want to point out that Forrest last week said that he was like, man, have you noticed that in the opening we see Iris and Princess Hibana at the same nunnery place?
mhm.
So good call on that one, Forrest.
Yep.
Thank you.
So
But yeah, she's making colorful flowers out of fire,
yeah.
apparently. And she's using science to make them different colors, which I
Yep,
really appreciated.
she was told her powers were gifts from the great soul, but you know, for obviously after certain things went down, like, and it's so funny too, like seeing how how shy Iris was, and and they make this promise where she's like, hey, will you show me the flowers again sometime? And Princess Hibana's like, I'll show you again when you're not as shy. Like when you get over your shyness. But yeah, obviously all the shit went down. And I am lost in my notes. Hang on.
See, it's interesting to me because I had kind of assumed that the fire flowers were related to maybe the cause of the nunnery burning down and everyone turning into infernals. It doesn't seem, at least they haven't addressed that. It seems like, Hibana has fire powers. She had them before everything went wrong. And it wasn't really like she didn't burn down the nunnery or something. She wasn't like playing with her fire and it like got out of control or something and burned everything down. It's just she had fire powers and the nunnery also, burned down.
Yep.
Like two separate things. At least so far as we've seen. It's possible that they're not showing us everything yet and that there was a connection there, but
no, okay, I'll tell you my theory about the nunnery burn down. I think that it's all connected. I think the nunnery burning and Shinra's mom dying in the fire, like, I think, look, an entire nunnery all of a sudden becoming infernals, I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen.
So are we thinking that someone might have figured out a way to force people to turn into infernals?
I think
maybe?
so. I think that's what the fucking organization that we saw attack the training thing. Like I think they're
that's what they do.
I think this is what they do. Yeah.
They've weaponized infernals.
Yeah.
I was speculating whatever episode ago had the firefighter turned serial killer turned infernal guy before he started shooting lasers out of his arm.
Right.
But that guy, it seemed weird to me that he alone, like out of all the people in the courtroom, it's the crazy murderer guy that turns into an infernal. Not one of the lawyers, not one of the judges, not one of the jury. The one guy that might be a real problem if you had infernal powers, or like would be the worst case scenario. He's the only one that turned into an infernal in that scene. It just seemed not as random as we've been led to believe. So
yeah.
in the case of all of the nuns turned into Infernals, except Iris and Princess. Maybe that's also not as random as.
It does not
Yeah.
seem random that all of these
It
things are
begs the
happening
question.
to third generation fire soldiers at the very least. Like
Yeah.
somebody is causing this to happen.
Also,
I blame
where's
Salem.
Shinra's little brother?
Multi-universe crossover confirmed.
Fuck you, Cortana. All because she went rampant and someone didn't control the leader before the 7-year time period.
But yeah, so basically after she kind of changes her life view and is like, I'm gonna play the part of a devil, like she used her legal research as a way to take over the Fifth by like bribing like some of the companies and whatnot, and so back like at where Shinra has defeated Princess Hibana, Iris tells Princess that the entire nunnery looked up to her, that to them she was their hero. And Princess Hibana is basically like, but I felt like so alone during that time. Like all I had was my flames, and even they turned on me. And I honestly think that it's a really like I actually think it's a really good message of like, you know, hey, keep an eye on your quote unquote strong friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the one that helps like support everybody else because like they might be going through some shit. And just because they're helping other people doesn't mean that they're not like dealing with some. So in other words, this is all Iris's fault. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
so
it's interesting. I forgot she said that specifically. I'm still hung up on her saying, my flames turned on me. Because I was really expecting it to be something like, oh yeah, she has fire powers and she accidentally burned out the nunnery. Like that's for a show that's all about fire. That's not really a theme that they've gotten into yet. The notion of like, because maybe I'm just thinking too much about Avatar and Aang learning firebending, right? But so much of his firebending arc is trying to realize that like fire is dangerous, right? He doesn't want to use it at first because it's too dangerous, and then he burns people, and he's upset, doesn't want to use it anymore. And it's like so much of it was about controlling one's fire power and not because fire can be used to help, but it can also destroy, and so that sort of balance of being able to control your flames. In this show, people just go fly, like Shinra goes flying across the room with giant balls of fire flying out of his feet. It's like he's set more than a few buildings on fire just taking off, And like I'd like them to explore, and I'm pretty sure they will at some point. It's just interesting to me that they haven't done that yet. Is to explore that idea of they're using their fire powers all the time, but the collateral damage of that can be catastrophic potentially. And,
yeah, no,
and I'm sure they'll get into that, but
yeah. So after all of this is said and done, Princess Hibana is like, I have nothing now. But Shinra is like, I'll save you anytime because I'm a hero. And she's like, what, you're not obligated to do that, and like, don't say you're gonna do that. And then Shinra's like, I don't need to be obligated to do anything, like that's just what a hero does, like I don't need to ask for your permission to help you, like like a hero just helps people who need help.
He literally says just like, yeah, just yell my name into the sky and I'll find you. So like, what is he, freaking Batman?
And so, but then it's really funny because like Princess Hibana's eyes that have always been flowers all of a sudden turn into hearts. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, this is the part of the episode I buy the least.
Yeah, no, like I
turn around from psychopathic, maniacal, villain lady to, oh, I'm a good guy now, was like 180 degrees in 4 seconds.
No, I 100% agree. I also have this issue. But yeah, like it is just complete 180 on her character. It's like, wow, okay, we're doing this, sure.
All right, sure. She's got to double cross them at some point, right? Like,
I get that.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah.
See, I don't get that feeling though. Is the thing.
I don't get that feeling either. She may do something stupid, but I don't think she's going to outright just betray them. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think we've had the villain turned hero arc. That's arc 1. We've just finished the first arc of we're gonna go and take care of the 5th. It was like a 3-episode arc.
I mean, arc is maybe a little bit. It's more like a tiny little line that like she went from villain to hero real fast.
Yeah, I get the feeling that it was supposed to be, and I kind of looked at the running and went, really? I don't quite buy this yet. I know that she's probably not to, but I don't quite buy the lead up and the payoff. I wanted a bit more of her being a villain before I could buy her being a hero. Thanks.
Right. Well, it just
I would have liked to. I personally would have bought it more. Like, she doesn't need to like necessarily stay a villain, but I would have preferred having her be like, man, I think I have some things to think about.
Right. Rather than the immediate. Oh, okay. Everything I ever thought, the whole rest of my whole life, after that fire has been wrong. Thank you for punching me in the face once. I've realized the error of my ways.
To be fair, he did punch her pretty fucking hard.
I mean, that's a good wake-up call to anybody.
He literally knocked the bitch out of her.
That's a real good slap right there.
Wow.
Like, do you have to take a training course for that, or is it just like instinct?
Yeah, it's
put that on his resume. I have the ability to slap the bitch out of someone.
That really redefines the term. It's like, I'm gonna slap somebody. I'm not hitting somebody. I am slapping it out of you. That's what this is for.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive.
So, but yeah, so basically Iris is like, hey, by the way, I feel like I showed some pretty not shyness by just barging into your place. Can I see them flowers? And Princess is just like, yeah, sure. And so she makes some flowers. And then they go outside, and Princess is real impressed with the number that the 8th has done on her men. Meanwhile, Shinra and Iris are just terrified.
Yeah, this is in like the post-credits scene too.
No, it's not. No, this isn't the post-credits scene. This is
it not?
No, this is the end of the episode.
Okay.
Yeah, they go outside, and just all of her men are laid out, and Princess is like, man, you guys are pretty strong. And Shinra and Iris are like, we're terrified of our lieutenant. Like,
as they rightfully should be.
Yeah.
This guy throws clipboards into the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you're hardcore enough to throw clipboards into a wall, you deserve to be feared.
So the story that they're going to go with is that the 5th asked the 8th to help in a surprise attack training exercise.
Yes, help. By knocking
it's
unconscious all of their men with bullets.
It's like just covered up by calling it a tracing exercise. Isn't that the usual BS answer we put out when something like that happens? I think that's almost exactly an Iron Man quote.
Yeah. And then finally we have the post-credit scene where Obi, he's like gearing up, he's got all of his shit ready, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. Wait, it's over?
Yeah, he's standing there with like 80 pounds. I think he's drinking, I don't know if it's sake, I don't know what he's drinking, but he drinks a huge bottle of something. And then he's got all his gear. He's like, all right, I'm ready to roll out. And they're like, oh. She's not even a villain anymore. Like, literally, it's not that we started the attack or that the attack completed. and we beat all the bad guys. It's that the bad guys are now good guys. That's
That's literally what
how
happened.
completely.
Oh, it's like
So-
Obi's just sitting there. He's so defeated. Like, oh come on, man. You
So,
could have
let
saved
this
one
be-
for me.
So I think the moral of this story is if you want people on your side, punch them in the face as hard as you can.
So, Brian, I'm gonna go test that life advice on my sister right now, and I'm gonna tell you how that goes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work well. Don't try this at home, kids. I'm not
Don't try this at
advocating.
home.
That was a joke.
Don't punch your siblings. It doesn't
Don't-
work that way.
Don't punch anybody.
Don't punch anybody, please.
Specifically your siblings, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tends to get really heated when you do that.
So that brings us to the end of the episode, and as well as the end of our podcasts where we cover 2 episodes at once.
Whew.
Catch me shaming people for not watching on the legitimate websites in
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, I've been watching that, dude. I've got the popcorn. Yeah, it's fire. Oh god, I just made up. Ah! You know, why don't we get on to the next bit before I do anything else pretty stupid?
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of hard to say where this is going to go because we kind of just wrapped up a big thing, but does anybody have predictions for...
Well, the title of the next episode is The Investigation of the First Commences. So...
Hey, Cat Girl!
So who will win?
Yes.
Will Catgirl be relevant, or will she not be relevant?
She will be Aoi Yuki, and that's all that matters.
I've already got your title prepared for next week. I didn't even have to think about it that hard.
I'm officially off of Push to Talk because I realized I finished eating like an hour ago.
Wow.
But yeah, aside from that, anybody else got any predictions?
Any predictions?
More
I
fan
predict Catgirl is
service.
going to be relevant.
I predict
Yeah,
that as well.
Unfortunately, that is the only thing I think I can predict.
Will it be Catgirl or will it be somebody else? Who knows? Tune in next week and find out.
It will definitely be Catgirl. It may be other people in addition to Catgirl.
Yep.
But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we get off the air before we screw this up?
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We will be back next week at the same time. It's been fun hanging out with y'all, talking about weird anime. Yeah. Bye!
Goodbye.
Goodbye.